Before we begin, I want to tell you what this is. This is not a summary, it is not a recap, and it is not a how to. Behind the veil is me pulling the curtain back on the Lady in Flesh, on where it came from, how it was built, and why it took the shape it did. This is the story behind the story. I started writing The Lady in Flesh years before it was ever published. I wrote it in fragments, in notebooks, in late nights after work, in moments where something wouldn't let me rest until it was on the page. By the time the manuscript was finished, it sat with me for almost 2 years. Not because it was not ready, but because I wasn't. Some stories aren't released when they're complete, they're released when the writer is finally willing to let it go. This series is about that process, about the research, real history, not the romantic version, about the locations, real places, real buildings, real halls that still exist, about the monsters, where they come from, what they represent, and why they take the forms they do, and about the things that don't always make it into the book, the disregarded scenes, the rewritten chapters, the moments that felt too quiet, or too cruel, or too honest. The Lady in Flesh is not just a horror novel. It's a story about memory, about land that remembers being wounded, about institutions that survive by forgetting, and how trauma does not disappear, it changes shape. Room 316 didn't appear fully formed. Neither did the lady. Neither did the Shadow Realm. Neither did the people who survived it. Or don't. In this series, each episode will focus on a chapter, a theme, or a piece of the world behind the book. Sometimes that means history, sometimes that means symbolism, sometimes that means admitting where the story scared me while I was writing it. There will be spoilers, there will be uncomfortable truths, and there will be moments where I stop and say, this is why I couldn't write it any other way. You will not see my face much here. I want the focus to stay where it belongs, on the places, the images, the halls, the rooms, and the silence between words. You'll hear my voice, you'll see real locations, you'll see the bones beneath this story. Because horror doesn't live on the page, it lives in context. If you're here because you've read The Lady in Flesh, this is a deeper descent. If you haven't read it, consider this a warning. Once you understand how something was made, you can never quite look at it the same way again. This is behind the veil, and this is where the door opens before the knock. And this is where the Lady in Flesh truly begins.